the young and the restless spoilers. The days in Genoa City had grown eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the usual hustle and bustle that defined the lives of the Newmans and Abbotts. Yet, amidst the calm, an unsettling anxiety gripped those closest to Ashley Abbott. She had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a void that was quickly filled with fear and suspicion. Tracy's return to Genoa had initially brought a sense of reunion and comfort, but it quickly turned into a nightmare when Ashley became unreachable. Abby had been the first to notice. Calls went unanswered, texts were left unread, and emails bounced back with the same frustrating automated response, recipient unavailable. At first, she tried to rationalize it. Maybe her mother was simply taking a break, needing some time away from the chaos that often surrounded their family. But as the hours turned into days, a gnawing sense of dread began to take hold. Sitting in her spacious living room, Abby paced back and forth, her phone clutched tightly in her hand. She had tried every possible way to reach Ashley, but each attempt ended in the same agonizing silence. Something was wrong. Deep down, she could feel it, a mother's intuition perhaps, or maybe just the cold, hard reality of their tumultuous lives. She had seen enough to know when danger was lurking. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sharp ping of her phone. Abby froze, her heart skipping a beat as she glanced at the screen. It was a message from an unknown number. With trembling hands, she opened it, her breath catching in her throat as she read the chilling words. "I have your mother. She's alive, but if you want her back, you'll do exactly as I say. Meet my demands, and she goes free. Refuse, and you'll never see her again. The choice is yours." Attached to the message was a photo, grainy and dark, but unmistakable. It was Ashley, lying unconscious on a hospital bed, a bandage wrapped around her head. Her face was pale, a stark contrast to the vibrant, strong woman Abby knew her to be. The sight sent a jolt of terror through Abby, a terror that quickly turned to rage. The message was signed simply, Martin. Who was this man? And why had he targeted her mother? Without hesitation, Abby called Victor and Jack, her voice shaking as she relayed the details of the message. The news hit them like a freight train, shattering any semblance of calm they had managed to maintain. Victor's face hardened, his protective instincts kicking in immediately. Jack, on the other hand, felt a wave of helplessness wash over him. He had always been there for his sister, but this was something entirely different. This was a nightmare he couldn't simply fix with a phone call or a show of force. As they gathered in Victor's office, the tension was palpable. Abby showed them the message and the photo, her eyes pleading for action. "We have to do something," she insisted, her voice cracking with desperation. "We can't just sit here and wait. We have to find her, and we have to do it now." Victor nodded, his mind already racing through possible scenarios. "We will, Abby. But we have to be smart about this. If this man, Martin, has Ashley, we need to find out who he is and what he really wants." Jack, too, was determined, but there was a sense of unease in his voice. "This isn't just about money. If it were, he wouldn't have sent that photo. He wants us to know that Ashley is vulnerable, that he's in control. This is personal." It was then that the pieces began to fall into place. Alan's name surfaced. He had been a figure of contention since Tracy's return, and now it seemed his brother, Martin, was behind Ashley's disappearance. Martin, as it turned out, was not just a shadow in Alan's life, but a man with his own twisted desires. He had been living in the shadows of Paris, quietly orchestrating his plan to take Ashley for himself, driven by an obsession that bordered on madness. Abby's heart raced as she learned more about Martin. "He's in Paris," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "That's where he has her. We need to go there, now." But Victor was quick to intervene. "No, Abby. This is not something we can handle on our own. We need to involve the authorities. If we go charging in, we'll only make things worse. We could lose Ashley for good." Jack agreed, though his face was lined with worry. "Victor's right. As much as I hate to admit it, we need to let the professionals handle this. We can't risk Ashley's life by rushing into this blindly." But Abby was undeterred. "I'm not just going to sit here and do nothing. This is my mother we're talking about. I need to be there, I need to make sure she's okay." Before the argument could escalate further, Nikki and Diane entered the room, their expressions a mixture of concern and resolve. You're not going anywhere, Nikki said firmly, her gaze fixed on Victor and Jack. This isn't your fight,